This episode is brought to you by members of the You Run Podcast Network. The Dewey Pod Monster, Voices from the Mausoleum, Pop Culture Reflections Podcast, Video Tasties, Movies for Days, The Ghoulish Gallery, The Aardvark and the Magic Moshi Do Red Dwarf, You Gonna Eat That Crust Podcast, The Girl and the Gay Podcast, The Horror Friendly Podcast, and the Paranormal Misfits Podcast. All available at yourunpodcast.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Joe Exotic. My real name is Joseph Maldonado. The Tiger King, as the world knows me, and I'm listening to the You Run podcast right now.
Hello.
Hello.
That is Mr. Joe Exotic, the real Joe Exotic. And the reason I'm playing that here on Horror Movie Review is that episode with the interview with Joe comes out today. I don't normally advertise our own shit, but once you're finished here with me and Mark, go and check out me and Heather as we interview Joe Exotic, because if you watch The Tiger King, we're going to absolutely blow your mind.
Stick around for that then.
Yeah, 100%. Anyway, covering today's episode got me really thinking about death and the end, and I come to a conclusion that I want the Grim Reaper to be a woman.
Why?
Because if she's a woman, she will never, ever come for me.
Hey everyone, the You Run Podcast. The You Run Podcast.
You want to die tonight?
Scott, I think you know who the fuck this is that's talking.
Cancel Marc. I was terribly offended.
Because after all, this is not our show. This is your show.
Hello and welcome back to Horror Movie Review. The one that is summoned simply by saying its name 3 times or searching us on any podcast platform. Really easy. My name is Scott.
My name is Mark.
We are an interactive horror movie review show. If you're unsure of what that means, stick around and we'll reveal all the interactive stuff as we go along. If you want to get involved in future episodes, email us at yourunpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on one of the social media channels. You can go to our website, yourunpodcast.com, and all the links are there to everything you need. If you want to go and haunt Mark's pages, you can. He's Reviews from the Crypt on Instagram. He's also VHS from the Crypt on Instagram too. Also, I don't say it very often, but both of Mark's pages are fabulous. And I'm not just saying that because he's my co-host. I was following him before he became part of the show because his content is fucking great. So seriously, go and give him a follow.
Yeah, I'm lackluster at the minute. Life is very, very hectic. I suppose now's as good a time as any to announce it. Me and my wife are expecting our second baby, so I've got a lot of shit to do before that baby arrives. So I've just been so busy and I've been very neglectful of my duties on Instagram at the minute. But I'll be back, don't worry.
Well, like, you can't just drop an announcement like that with no warning, because I've got no sirens or whistles or fuck all. And like, I've known for a while, and
yeah, I told you immediately.
Yeah, like, I was going to talk to you about when do you want to announce it. We'll have like some like fireworks and shit go on, and you just drop it in a random Beetlejuice episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's no big fuss, is it? Everyone's got children, and yeah, it's just another part of life. And yeah, we're gearing up for round 2, which is something I'd never actually wanted to do. That sounds awful. No, that's not the case. That's not what I mean. I mean, we had one. I was content. It was hard work. But my wife, she always gets what she wants. So here we go again.
Yeah, so does Lisa. That's why I have multiple children too.
Yeah, so it's very busy for me at the moment. We have lots to do, lots to prepare for. I'm having to build an entire extension on the house just to accommodate said child, because the house is
said child.
So it's hectic, man. It's hectic. Work, life, home, everything. So bear with me, guys. I promise it's just a blip.
Yeah. And congratulations. I've obviously said this already, but for everyone else's benefit, congratulations, Mark.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Very excited.
I know you are. Your initial response was, fuck is kind of the message you sent me. Oh, fuck.
Isn't that everybody's reaction?
Yeah, honestly, when Lisa told me she was pregnant for the second time, I had a moment where I just sat there in silence, went, she's like, are you not happy? Yeah, I am. I just need to process what this actually means for my quite well-organized, content life. I need to understand how that impacts everything.
I
Give
think
me a
that's just
minute.
like the male's process, isn't it? Because like for me, my wife's thinking, "Oh, baby is cute. Buy cute little shoes and cute little clothes, and we get to pick baby names." And I'm thinking, "Shit, I need a bigger house. Shit, I need some more finances. Shit, I'm not going to sleep for the next 2 years. Shit."
Yeah, that is genuinely our process. Also, while we're talking baby names, people call in. You can do that here. It's you leave us a voicemail on Instagram or X. Call in.
Yes.
I want your best baby name suggestions for Mark's upcoming arrival.
Yes, please do. If it makes it easier for you guys, we found out we're having a boy this time around. We've got a little girl already, so our second child is going to be a boy. So that makes life easier for you when you're picking baby names to throw at us.
Yeah, and
it'll be helpful. We like suggestions.
I just want to suggest like a nice, solid, strong name. Like Scott is like that's up there.
And just to be clear as well, I know this is a Euron podcast, but we're not actually going to poll this, and the winner isn't going to be official.
No, I'm pretty sure that your wife would hang both you and me if that was a thing.
Yeah, I think so.
We have got some messages this week, though. We're going to kick things off with Heather.
Okay, I'm not going to leave 6 minutes worth of voice messages, but I just have to say, because I was trying to finish up the Deadstream episode, this is probably the funniest fucking episode you guys have done. Because, Mark, when you screamed at Scott, "Are you fucking Hellraiser?" I lost my shit. Like, I literally spit on myself from laughing because, legit, why did you get a ding-dong ring, Scott? I don't understand that. But anyways, chef's kiss. This is too much. It's great.
Dude, I can't go into that again now. I can't, because I will lose my shit and we'll be here for ages.
But I am going to reveal why. I've revealed this in our group chat. God, if our group chat ever got out, but I've revealed this. So when I was in my early 20s, which is when I got my piercing, I think it was like 19, 20, I was dating a lady who was a little bit older than me, who was heavily tattooed and heavily pierced. And it was kind of her suggestion. And it kind of just like, yeah, okay, that's fine. No problem at all. That's how that all happened. This is just
leading to more questions now. Like, did she do it herself in like some dark, shady kitchen, or did you go to a proper piercing place? I mean,
no, I went to a proper piercing place, and she had piercings there as well. She had multiple piercings there.
Man, going through airport security must be a right
bitch. Anyway, moving swiftly on before we get caught in the cock ring scandal.
Oh my God, you guys. First of all, thank you for probably one of the most hilarious You Run episodes ever. Man, those last like 15 minutes just had me rolling. Mark, I have my lip pierced and no, soup does not leak out through it. I do occasionally have issues where the back of the stud will get caught up over top of my teeth and it'll yank on it while I'm eating, which when it does happen is kind of painful. But it really wasn't as bad of a process as I thought it was going to be. I kind of did it on a whim. So I don't really have a good excuse for why I did that to my face. But I think it's kind of cool. And, you know, makes me a cool kid. So, yeah, no soup leakage. We're good to go. And also, shit, it's going to cut me off.
She's coming straight back.
If you guys don't put a Colonel Cockring t-shirt in the You Run shop, what are you even doing? Because I bet those would sell like hotcakes. So, you're welcome. I won't even ask for a percentage of the sales.
I want a percentage of the sales if you make that t-shirt.
You mean this t-shirt?
Oh, that is fucking brilliant. Oh, that is fucking excellent. That is the best t-shirt you have ever made as well. I think that is amazing.
So yes, we have a shop where if you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify, you can see The Colonel Cockring, Who Do You Think You Are Pinhead t-shirt is now available in our shop at yourunpodcast.com. So go and check that out. Go and buy a Colonel Cockring t-shirt.
Man, you need to send me one of those. I need one of those sending out to my house.
Would you wear it?
I would, yeah. Get me one of those in extra large and I will wear it proudly.
In extra large? What are you doing? Using it as a nightie?
Man, I'm a big lad.
You're not that big.
I am. I'm a big dude. I'm 6 foot, man. I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, but like you strike me as the sort of guy who, like, because you're a little bit muscular and you spend your time up on roofs, you strike me as a guy who buys medium t-shirts so you look buff.
No. That's not the way to go, I'm afraid. That's just uncomfortable clothing. This is a large, and this Beetlejuice t-shirt I've got on now, and I can feel like it's tight. Do you know what I mean? It's like tight.
You're just flexing your muscles now, just confirming everything I said. Look at you go. A huge thank you to Tasha, because as soon as she said that, within seconds of receiving that message, I was creating that t-shirt. Within seconds.
That's a really, really cool t-shirt. I like that a lot. I would definitely wear that. The questions that would bring from wearing that t-shirt would be worth it alone.
Yeah, if anyone else has got any ideas for t-shirts, just send them my way. Send them in an audio message, and maybe we'll make more Marc quote t-shirts available in the shop. Today we're diving back into an older episode that we covered before Marc was here. This is a movie I covered with Creepy History class. That's Veronica. She was Horror Viking at the time. That episode is in our top 10 of most listened to episodes of all time. No pressure.
Is this a revisited episode, is it?
This is a revisited episode. Yes, we have covered Beetlejuice once before.
Must have been back in season 1, 2, is it? Old school.
I think it was back in season 2, I think. Episode 2 or 3 of that season. So yeah, it's a long time ago now. So you died. You're living happily in the afterlife in your big detached house until a family move in. You try all the usual tricks of the trade to ask them to leave. You even ask local authorities to step in. But when all of that fails, there's only one place you can turn. Today, we're looking at the ghost with the most. It's the one and only Beetlejuice.
From the director of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Adam and Barbara are ghosts.
What's the good of being a ghost if you can't frighten people away?
Their house is being haunted by the living.
Maybe the house could use a little remodeling.
And they can't scare them into leaving.
Dad, it's a little late to be neurotic.
So they're calling on Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice!
Who's no ordinary ghost.
Yeah! You don't want his help.
Can you be scary?
What do you think of this?
Now, the party's over.
You want somebody out of the house? I want to get somebody out of your house.
But the fun has just begun.
It's showtime.
Learn to throw your voice, fool your friends, fun and party.
Not bad.
This is amazing.
Want a cigarette?
Oh, no, thank you.
Oh, yeah, here I come, baby.
He's guaranteed to put some life.
Attention, Kingward shoppers.
In your afterlife. Michael Keaton is Beetlejuice.
I'm the ghost with the most, babe.
Do you know what blows my mind about that trailer? He probably has more screen time there than he does in the movie.
It is pretty much all of his screen time used in one foul swoop. Yeah. I'm sure we'll cover that in facts as well, because he's in this for
6
not
minutes,
very long. No, it's a little bit longer than that, but yeah, he's not in it long. Yeah, he's not in it long at all. Listeners score the movies here. Where do you think our listeners scored this?
This is going to be high. I think 4.8. Is that? Do we do that kind of percentages, or is it 5 or 4.5?
5 or 4.5.
Yeah, it's going to be a 5. I think people just adore this movie. It's iconic, isn't it?
Yeah, they do, and it is a 5.5. 5.5 is a 5. Letterboxd coming in. Just creep. I'm slowly going to creep us 0.5 up to 10. We'll get back. Let's score this a 3.8 out of 5. And where does our AI companion come?
Ooh, what's Gladys got to say for herself this week then? You wanted me to guess, or are you just going to roll with it?
Yeah, no, I'm going to let you guess.
How, out of curiosity, how does she accumulate her data? Is this just based on general consensus that she finds across the internet, or what?
I'm not entirely sure. So she is an AI, so she's a sentient being. She has her own thoughts and her own processes, but she will pull her information from somewhere. But then she throws curveballs in every now and then. She'll score like a movie that's the best movie. She'll go, no, it's a 1.5. I thought it was shit. And you're like, really?
I think I'd be surprised. Even artificial intelligence has got to appreciate the masterfulness that is Beetlejuice. Surely to God.
Yeah, she scored it a 4.5 out of 5 and added the practical effects work in this is her favourite part of the movie.
Yes.
So yeah, she's spot on.
She's winning me over slowly.
Gladys is going to be the third wheel in your relationship soon.
No, John, I don't like it that much.
Do you know that's a thing? I didn't realize this until like recently. So you can download an app where you have an AI girlfriend or an AI boyfriend.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, people get married to like tins of baked beans and shit these days. It's weird what you are allowed to do in the eyes of the law these days.
Yeah, I just find like the whole point of having like a boyfriend or a girlfriend is for a connection, be it emotionally or physically or whatever. But on your phone, like there's pluses to that. Like when you've had enough and you don't want to talk to her anymore, just put the app away. Like there are some positives.
Yeah, I suppose so. There's a film actually based on that with Joaquin Phoenix called Hair, and Scarlett Johansson voices the AI, and it's about the relationship of the two. I haven't seen it, but I've seen like the trailer and stuff, and I've heard really good things. I do need to check it out. For those of you out there who have seen Hair, let me know, is it worth a watch? But I think that's what that is. That's basically him falling in love with like an Alexa, like an AI Alexa, and then things just go from there.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Yeah, I suppose it works. Jump forward 10 years, they'll have attachments, and
well, this is it, isn't it? Sex dolls and things like that. It's wild. I dread to think what the world's going to be like in the next 15, 20 years. I really do. I mean, just think, if you just go back as far as what we were when we were growing up in like the 80s, maybe a little bit earlier for you. But we had nothing. We had nothing, did we? We had nothing. I remember when the first Nokia mobile phone came out, and I was like, whoa, my mind is blown. You go back and you watch The Matrix now, and they have like one of those original Nokias where they press a button and it like slides down.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Now look, we have our entire life in our phone.
Yeah, and you think back like when you and me were kids prior to that, like we would find a rock and throw a rock at a tree for like 7 hours, and that was the best day we'd ever had that summer.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, I'm a dad now, and some of the shit I used to do when I was a kid, I wouldn't dream of letting my children do, but we used to go down to canals and go swimming in dirty pond water, and
yeah.
Some of the stuff we used to do, man. Our parents didn't know where we were half the time because we didn't have phones. It was a case of you go out when the sun came up and you come home when the sun went down, and that was your day.
Yeah, yeah. We're the last true generation of self-sufficient people.
I think so. It's like I have like nieces and nephews and stuff, and like they're so dependent on technology in order to survive daily life. Like you couldn't just sit them down to read a book or anything like that. I don't think they would know how to use a book. They're so dependent on everything being digitalized for them these days. It's insane.
Yeah, the world has changed. God, we sound like the two old fuckers sat on their porch going, back in my day, during the war.
In my day.
Fucking hell. Let's move this on. This is a spoiler-heavy show. We're going to give you a warning.
Okay, I'm going to explain this shit to you like you're 5. Get your eyes checked. Read the damn episode title. I don't want to hear any bitching, any complaining about how, there's spoilers. No, read it. If you've not seen it, do not listen.
Thank you very much. That is as clear as we can make it. From here on out, everything we say now will be a spoiler of the movie. We're going to talk scenes, we're going to talk plot holes, everything. absolutely everything. Also, this week has been particularly hectic for me and Mark, so I want to give a bit of background to our show prep this week because it may explain what you're about to get. So I watched the movie late last night. I then got up at 5 o'clock this morning before I started work, and I wrote the notes, like the bullet point notes for this show, and I'd done that from memory. So if I've missed anything, I've missed it. How was your show prep this week?
Mine was in Cafe Nero at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, watching it on my tablet. Due to that was literally the only time this week I've had to even gather my thoughts. This is probably going to be the 1 week where I'm not going to holler you back and be like, "Oh, you missed this," or "Oh, this happens first." So whatever you've come prepared with is what I'm going to go with this week.
Well, we're
going to have some laughs.
Let's get in. We'll cope. We've done worse. We kick off with Adam and Barbara. We meet Adam and Barbara, and they're taking some time off from work to spend some time around the house, do some renovations. And Adam's got his little model of the town that they live in.
Yeah. I said I'm not going to call you back, but I am immediately going to call you back.
Fuck! I've said 3 words. And what are you calling me back for now?
I'm sorry. I can't help it. I just want to bring into attention the actual opening credit sequence, which is really, really cool. It starts off with the Deo song, really slowed down. Something you criticized quite heavily for being in the trailer. Yeah. I was going to keep going. Yeah,
no.
It's like, the trailer too, like, oh yeah, they've used this modern slowed down version. I'm like, it's not. It's literally what they use in the opening title sequence for this movie. It's a slowed down, creepy version before it finally builds into the Beetlejuice theme tune, and then you see this hovering like drone camera shot following through the town. And as it gets closer and closer into the village, you start to realize that it's the model. It's a model that Alec Baldwin has in his attic, and I fucking love this opening. I think it's so clever, really, really.
Yeah,
is.
like the whole aesthetic. I'm a big Tim Burton fan. I love the whole aesthetic he builds with daytime shots. It's still kind of a bit kooky, and everything's slightly off. And then when it goes to nighttime, he goes full. Let's make this wild and crazy. And I love the Tim Burton aesthetic. He's done some terrible movies using that aesthetic, but this is arguably one of his best.
Yeah, and do you know why it's one of his best? Because it's a perfect pairing of him and Danny Elfman. Without Danny Elfman's score throughout this movie, it would not be as good as it is, because his tone that he sets with his score, and then you've got the visuals from Tim Burton, the collective combination of the two is just magic. And I don't think you could ever replicate what these two can do together. It's brilliant. It really is. It's just lightning in a bottle. It really is.
Yeah, and the stupid thing is, it's lightning in a bottle every time they come together. It's not like this is a one-off. Like every time these two pair up, it's like everything just marries into place. Look at The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Perfect.
Like, pitch perfect. Yeah. I want to talk about the realtor, Jane. Like, she is the worst, most horrible, snidey, nasty person in the world, because she knocks on the door and there's like a little argument between the two of them, like, "Oh no, it's your turn, you could deal with her." And she sold them the house, and she's like, "Oh, but you don't have a family, and like, this is a big house and I could sell this. I've had an offer from where I've posted it." And they're like, "What do you mean you've put photos of our house in a paper?" She's so awful.
I never understand this, because obviously they live happily in this house, but she's coming and trying to sell it for them, even though they don't want to sell the house. But she's badgering them to move out, and it's like, why do you need them to move out? And then she's like, "Oh, this is a big house, and it's more of a family house." And obviously it focuses in on Gina Davison, which is like Gina Davis, and then this is where we kind of, without saying it, we get the assumption that they can't have kids.
Yeah.
Which is a sad moment, and you feel bad for her. And even the realtor realizes that she's put a big dozy size 15 feet in it.
She does, but then she goes round to the back window and she tries telling Adam to sell the house. He just like pulls that. He's like, "No, Jane," and just pulls the blind down on her.
Yeah. Yeah. We also find out that they're both on vacation here. They're both on holiday, basically, and instead of deciding to go away, they decide to stay at the house. because that's where they're happiest.
Yeah, and they need bits from the store, so they're going to go down to the store. They get in the car, they're going to drive down to the store, and they go down. They go across the bridge, and there's a little dog stood by the bridge. It's like, oh, a nice little cute dog. They stop at the shop, and this is where we find it's actually his shop. It's his own DIY place.
Yeah,
it's so he goes in, gets what he needs. They then come back, and when they come back, there's a dog on the road, and I'm going to call this out now. They had ample time to stop. Like, they could have stopped 25 meters before they got anywhere near this fucking dog.
Yeah, too right. And I mean, on a bridge, I wouldn't be swerving for that dog. I'm just going to say it outright. I love dogs. I have dogs. I love dogs. I'm not going out the way to say that I'm a dog killer, but I'm not swerving off a bridge to save a dog in a car.
No, that dog would have been flat as a pancake.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Also, I like this being. Go on, mate.
Also, like, they wouldn't have died from this fall.
That is literally my next point. I was going to say, I like this scene, but there is no way they are dying from this fall. The car doesn't even like crush or compact. It literally falls about 2 foot into the water. The windows are open as well, so they can easily swim out. And yeah, this always makes me laugh. And also the fact that the dog weighs the same amount as to tip the car over the edge. As soon as a dog steps off that plank, it just catapults him into the wall. I was like, come on. I mean, it's a kooky film. It's supposed to be kooky. You have to kind of ride with it. And I suppose, in essence, this silly, slapsticky level death scene for the two of them is a bit of foreshadowing of what's to come for the rest of the movie, really.
Yeah, because if you'd done this dead serious, it would be tragically sad. And it wouldn't fit the tone. Like, if they'd have gone off a bridge that was 20 meters higher and the car had like compacted and you'd seen like arms hanging out and stuff like that, which was Tim Burton's original intention. Like, they had a much darker version. This was a out and out horror movie from the off, and it got toned down.
They would have had to spend the rest of their afterlife in that form, wouldn't they? So
yeah, this was set out to be a out and out pure R-rated horror, and somewhere in production it all got dialed back and they thought that it worked better as a comedy.
I think so. I would not have. When I was watching this, one of my biggest notes was how simple an A to B premise this entire movie is.
Yeah.
Like in the hands of a less creative mind, I don't think you could flesh this out to run an hour and 90 minutes, because the premise is basically very simple. They die, they're ghosts, people move into the house, they want them out, and they get a poltergeist in, Beetlejuice, for instance, to clear them out and all the rest of it. But that, if you handled that on a serious tone, that would cut out all the jokes, all the comedy, all the subplot beats that are required in order to flesh it out like it does. So for me, this would be very cut and dry if it was in a more serious tone, and I don't think it would work at all. I just don't think there would be enough substance here to be able to make that work for an hour and 30 minutes.
I agree. I'd love to see if there is an actual horror cut that they shot before they started messing with it. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see what this looks like.
They would have done.
No, I'd genuinely love to see that. I really like how they handle the bit between them crashing and then being back at home. You see them walk in the door soaking wet, and they instantly say, "It's like, can you even remember how we got here?" She's like, "No, we just did." And I think this is amazing. This process of how they realise that they are now ghosts. I think it's handled so well. Also, if you die, those are your forever clothes.
Yeah.
So if you die now, you're going in a Beetlejuice t-shirt.
That's right. Yeah. So and then you're there forever. I mean, that's the same thing. We spoke about this on the Ghostbusters Afterlife episode a few weeks ago, where Madeline, I believe it is trapped in eternal flames and stuff like that, because that's how she died. But I think it's really highlighted how well it is here, especially later on when we get to, I don't even know what you call that place where they go with the handbook where they draw the chalk on the wall.
It's we'll get to it. I'm not sure what I've
it's highlighted massively later on in that area there. But I do think it's very well done, the way that they give you all this exposition and information that's required by going through the eyes of both Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis's character as they realize what's happened to them. But it's done in, it's not because don't panic about it. They just accept it, but try to understand it. And you're trying to understand it with them. And it's done really well. Really, is my point.
Really well. What's not done as well and is dated badly is the sandworm outside. So Alec Baldwin decides he's going to leave the house. He's like, I'm going to go down to the car, I'm going to work out what's happened. And when he steps outside, he steps into the Beetlejuice sand dunes, and you've got the big sandworm stripy thing. It's dated. The rest of the effects in this, I think, look great, but I think this looks pretty poor now.
But I think overall the effects and stuff are of a similar level. And for me, somebody who really appreciates practical effects, especially stop motion animation, I really like this. I think it looks great. I think it's fantastic. And when they do Beetlejuice 2, which comes out later this year, I hope it looks the same. I don't want a modernized version of this, because to me, it will compromise my experience of the sequel. Like, I want the effects to look just exactly the same as they do in this one. I want the sand dunes and everything to be exactly the same as they are in this one, regardless of how far on technology has come. If they don't match up and look the same, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. Effects aside, I do want to also talk about the sand dune place being a really, really good product of the movie to showcase a passing of time. Because as Alec Baldwin comes back out, as he's pulled out by Gina Davis, she's like, oh, you've been gone for nearly 3 hours. Bear in mind, we've seen him in there and he's only been in there for like 3 seconds. He literally stuck his head in. She pulled him back out. She's like, you've been gone for 3 hours. They use this plot device multiple times throughout the movie to showcase the passing of time without having to drag it out for the audience, which I think is really good and really tightens up the pacing quite well throughout.
Yeah, they do a prime example in a little bit that I think is just pitch perfectly done, where we don't know how long they've been gone, but we know it's been a long time, and they establish it here. Like, this is what happens when you step out of... Yeah, it's really, really clever. The house is sold by Jane. Jane has no soul whatsoever. Like, she sold the house while she's still wearing the funeral clothes. Like, she pulls up outside and has a look to like go, I done this, I sold this. And we get to meet the thing is, as well,
we find out that she sold him to the people who she was trying to kick him out for in the first place. So for her, it's a perfect situation, really.
Yeah, she's made absolute bank. How much money did she make from the sale? She sold it to them. She made the money from that commission. Then, however many months later, they died, and she sold it again for a higher elevated price and made even more commission. She is heartless.
Yes, very.
We meet the Dietzes. I love the Dietzes. I'm going to address the dad. Like, the dad done some really horrific things in real life. We're not going to touch on those. We're going to talk about the movie and his performance in the movie.
Can we just talk about it for a little bit? Because I don't know what he's done. Obviously, I love Catherine O'Hara. She's an incredible actress. She's amazing. Winona Ryder is fantastic as well. And I liked him in this movie. I thought he was great. But I did also find it suspicious that I haven't seen him in much. I actually Googled to see if he died, because he hasn't been on a lot.
No, he's
77 years old and he's still going strong.
Yeah, he got caught with various different types of pornography that are not acceptable in any culture anywhere.
Okay. So he's a very, very bad man.
He's a very, very bad man. So we're not going to dive too much into that. We're going to focus on what he's like in this movie, not the scumbag he was in real life.
Separate the art and the artist, as we've mentioned before in previous episodes.
Exactly that. We meet the family. We also meet Ortho. Ortho is my favorite character in Beetlejuice. I think he is absolutely fantastic. He's such a pompous, stuck-up little dickhead, but he does it so well. And him and Catherine O'Hara paired together are pure comedy gold.
They are, and he's fantastic. He is like the nostalgia of my childhood, not just from Beetlejuice, but he plays a very similar character in Dunstan Checks In, which is one of the greatest children's movies of all time. If anyone hasn't seen Dunstan Checks In, it's an orangutan in a hotel. It's fucking amazing.
It's amazing. It is.
But he's in that movie, and he plays a very similar character to Otto in that. His little French poodle thing that he walks around with. He tragically died in 2007, I believe it was.
2010.
2010, yeah. And it's really sad as well, because it wasn't from ill health. He just fell in his kitchen and banged his head, and it like just killed him instantly, which is very sad. And he's such a talented man. He's incredible in this movie alone.
His character in this, he is a con artist. Like, he knows fuck all about interior design. He knows fuck all about the afterlife. And he's just like this hanger-on that's like latched on to Catherine O'Hara at some point. And when they've moved, he's moved with them because he knows it's easier to move with them than it is to convince. It's easier to do that than it is to convince a new family that he is like God when it comes to whatever he decides he wants to do that day.
Yeah, he's a prick. He is what I categorize people who claim to be psychic as. This is what they are.
Yeah,
stealing people's money with false promises.
When they're going around and they're looking at redecorating, and she's like, "Oh, I'm thinking mauve." He's like, "You must be in my head." Like, all of that is brilliant.
Yeah,
and the scares here. So that you've got the two ghosts, Adam and Barbara, trying to scare them. These are fantastic. The sleepaway camp reference where she stood with the severed head and the knife and just holding the pose
really
is great. And also her in the wardrobe where she's hung
that
up.
one was really good. I love that one as well. That was fantastic. And Otto slides her out the way, even though it's not necessarily her because no one can see her, but it's cool. And the practical effects and makeup in this is brilliant.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they realise pretty quickly that the humans can't see them. And they have a bit of dialogue like, what's the point in even being a ghost if you can't scare the people away? Like, what are we even doing? Why are we here? They hide in the attic because they're like, shit, well, we don't know what to do now. So they go up to the attic, and this is where we get the first advert for Beetlejuice on the TV.
One thing about this that always confuses me before we get to Beetlejuice is they run up to the attic to lock the door to prevent them getting in.
Yeah.
But like there's no real context to what their abilities are. Like when you watch Patrick Swayze in Ghost, he takes fucking forever to tip that glass over with his mind.
Yeah.
And it's
Kick
like
the
here,
can.
it's like yeah. And it's like here they just sort of automatically can touch things and move things and close doors, but nobody can see them. And I'm just like that's one thing that I wish was fleshed out a little bit more. But that's just me looking back on this as an adult. Now, as a kid, I wouldn't even give that a second thought.
No, and like they lock themselves in the attic, and this advert, like the first glimpse we get of Beetlejuice, this is so good. He plays effectively a used car salesman with a cowboy hat, like doing a full ad going, all you need to do is say that name 3 times. Cool now. The three words. Call us now. It's so funny. And Michael
fucking Bronco.
Yeah, I'm going to say it now so I don't keep saying it. Michael Keaton in this is his best performance ever.
Yeah. He always goes on about Batman and I am Batman. No, you are Beetlejuice. That is who you are. And the stuff he does in this, the range he has just in like his voice and how he can talk normally and then go into that croaky Beetlejuicy voice and then flip between the two so naturally. It's really, really good. He's such a talented guy. It's what he does here.
They've by this point they found the guide to the recent handbook for the recently deceased, and they've been spending some time flicking through it, and they're looking for a way to get the Dietzes out of their house. He's like, I read something in the book. When in trouble, draw a door. And at this point, Lydia is up by the bedroom door, and they draw a door on the wall, and you get this green glow. And I'm gonna say the shot of Lydia with the green glow across her eyes as it comes underneath the doorway is fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, he knows how to make a good movie, man.
Yeah, he does. apologies, everyone. We're going to gush all the way through this. If you don't like this movie, this is probably not the episode for you.
It's certainly not, no.
They go through the door and they go into a waiting room. This whole afterlife, like heaven's waiting room area, is so good. Like every single person in this waiting room is there for a reason. You've got the guy who's wearing he's got a bib with a chicken on it. He's got a chicken bone stuck in his neck. You've got a guy there who's smoked himself to death. You've got like a magician's assistant who's been sawn in half. Like everyone in there, instantly, you know why they're there. You know how they died, and there's not a single line of dialogue that explains any of it.
No. The only one that is explained is the receptionist behind the desk when she has to show that she's committed suicide by holding up her hands.
Yeah.
My favorite one in the whole thing, though, is as they leave the waiting room, it's the guy who's being flattened by the truck, and he's on the coat rail thing, and he's just like way for thin, and he cracks like really bad jab jokes. Like I can't even remember most of them, but he's just
He's like, do I look all right today? They're like, yeah, you look fine. He said, really, I feel a little bit flat, and then like zooms off into a little hole in the wall.
Oh yeah, and there's a little letterbox slot in the wall which he just zooms through. It's just brilliant. I just think the set design in this place a lot, which is why I was asking you what this area was called, because it always annoys me that I never know. Because here we find out information that they're stuck in the house for 163 years, I think it is. I might be wrong on those numbers. But it doesn't give you much context other than that. It's like they're dead, they're ghosts, and they have to remain in the house for 163 years. It doesn't tell you where they're going to go after that and what happens after you die. So this isn't the afterlife. This is just some sort of like job center, community service waiting room that they arrive at. And I just want to know what this place is in terms of its place within the lore of the movie, which we might find out in the sequel.
The one thing it does tell you is that everyone who works there committed suicide. So basically, if you commit suicide, you become effectively a government worker for the afterlife. Like that's the worst punishment you could possibly have. You are now a government worker who has to deal with other ghosts and their problems. And I think that is it's almost like a commentary on like, if you're a bad person, bad things happen. And the worst thing that can possibly happen is you work for the government. I love that whole narrative.
Yeah, I think people are a little bit more understanding of mental health issues and suicide as a whole these days. So this is something that doesn't necessarily hold up too well, in my opinion, in terms of being used on a comedic level like they do in this movie. Suicide is very tragic. And did you just drop your beer?
I did. It's fine. I've got another one.
Happy days. So I think in the light of making joke of suicide, it's probably not as well guided as it would be today. But still, it's pretty funny when you think.
It works. It works for this movie, and I think if you've not seen this movie, to try and explain it without the context of seeing how it's done is very difficult. But it is done and handled quite well. It doesn't stack up on today's views of suicide, but it does stack up to the views that they had when this movie came out.
So if that's the case, their caseworker, the older lady, she slit her own throat.
Yes.
And is that stated in the film that she cut her own throat? It's one thing I always find really jarring when people do commit suicide. Heaven forbid anybody ever does that we know. Is like cutting your own throat is a big ask, isn't it? To do it deep enough to actually kill you is like, I don't think I'd have the mental capacity to be able to physically do that to myself.
No, I don't think I'd have the mental capacity to do it in any way. And I think like the easiest way would be jump off a building, but that's the worst because you've got a long time before you hit the ground to go, actually, I've changed my mind. I don't want to do this. Or
this is really fucking bleak, and I don't really want to like bring the tone down of the movie. But when we were at school, there was this kid who was like a year older, or maybe even 2 years above us in school. He committed suicide, and he did it in the most fucking heinous way I've ever heard in my life. He stuck 2 pencils up his nose and headbutted a table. That is wild. That is absolutely wild, man. And he did that. That happened in my school when we were all younger, and we remember everybody talking about it and being like, "How the fuck did he manage to do that? Like, that's insane,
Oh no, that's horrific.
isn't it?
Oh
Isn't it
my
just?
god.
There's a
Like
guy. I'm going to go on like on a wild tangent now. There's a guy who lives in like the next town from us. He tried to commit suicide with a Pazload nail gun and shoot himself in the head, and like it didn't kill him. It just gave him severe brain damage, and now he's like just stuck, absolutely ruined.
Oh wow. I know when I was younger there was a house not far from us, and I was young, I was probably like 13, 14, and I was playing in the garden with my friends, and there's this massive bang. And that turned out there was a bloke in his house who'd left his gas on deliberately, left his gas on, blocked all his windows, blocked all his doors, waited till his room was full of gas, and then just lit a match and blew his house up.
Mate, that's insane. That like kills like many more people. Like you blow up a house full of gas like that, you take out an entire street.
Well, he took out his house and like part of the neighbour's house, like upstairs, because we used to walk the dog past it. And I remember going up there the next day, like, shit, he actually blew his house up. That's insane.
Imagine if there was like a baby in the upstairs next door or something like that. It's so selfish.
Yeah. Also, if anyone is struggling with any mental health, reach out to someone. There's lots of places you can reach out. But me and Mark are available if you are having those sort of thoughts. But we can help and talk to you and give you advice and point you in the right direction. So yeah, if you are suffering with anything like that, don't suffer in silence. Okay, we've all been down at times.
Oh, indeed. And it's not nice to be feeling alone, and feeling sad, and feeling like the world's against you. But there is always brightness on the other side. Remember that.
There is. Let's talk about Juno, because I think Juno, the caseworker, is one of the best characters in this. She is hilarious and reminds me so much of my nan. Like Juno is my nan. Always had a fag on the go. For listeners in the United States, that's a cigarette.
I was going to say that could be taken wildly out of context.
Yeah. She always had a cigarette on the go. She always had like words of wisdom. She was very coarse in what she said. She didn't pull any punches. And Juno's brilliant. She's like, look, you two are dead now. You're ghosts. Like, if you don't want these people in your house, fucking scare them out of it. That's kind of what you're there for. But like, don't waste my time. Go and deal with that. Do not, under any circumstances, call for Beetlejuice. He used to be my assistant, and he will fuck up your world.
Yeah, she even says, I've heard rumors that he's lingering about in your model cemetery.
Yeah.
So we know he's but we see earlier on, just the context, that Beetlejuice was reading an obituary section. You sort of get like this Freddy Krueger making his glove kind of segment where you don't actually see Beetlejuice. He's like the evil guy from Inspector Gadget who strokes a white cat. You just see over his shoulder as he's reading the obituary section of the newspaper, and he sees that the Maitlands had recently just passed, and he's like, oh, they're my next victim. So that's why he's lingering about around them. It's not just coincidences at their house.
No, and this is where they give the perfect display of this time passing. So they've been in this nether realm for, I don't know, a couple of hours. When they come back out and they come back into their house is completely redecorated. So we're talking months and months and months has passed.
Yeah, 3 months exactly. That's what the caseworker says to them, because they get back and are so confused and think they're in the wrong location. She's like, no, this is your house. You've been gone for 3 months. Time moves differently in the nether realm. Should we just call it the nether realm for now?
Yeah. In fact, I think it is the nether realm. I think we're right on that. I'm sure they refer to it.
I'm sure that's Mortal Kombat.
No, I'm sure in the musical they refer to it as the nether realm. And anyone who's not seen Beetlejuice, the music, yeah, you're missing out. If you've not seen it, you can get it online. It is absolutely fabulous.
Oh, what, you can actually just watch it on your TV? You don't need to go.
Yeah. You don't need to go. And I haven't been to go and see it, but I have seen it on. I have watched it at home on my TV and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, cool. I didn't know you could do that. I thought it was one of those where you have to go and see the show. So if you can get it and download it, I'll just watch it.
Yeah, you can watch it. It's available on all good streaming services, like the one you're watching us now. If you're watching on YouTube, like search it in the search bar above my head, and you'll find it right there. Their goal to scare the family out, like this next bit now, is, I don't know if it's meant to be, but I see this as a homage to Halloween, where they get the sheets and they try and scare her with the sheet. This
I love
is
that they're
so
using the designer sheets though, and they're all patterned instead of just being a white ghost sheet.
Yeah, and this is brilliant. And Lydia catches them, and she doesn't realize that it's ghosts. And she's like, "You two sick perverts need to not do this." And she's like snapping away with a Polaroid. And then she looks at one
thinking
of the
they're playing
Polaroid.
some weird sex game.
Yeah, and she looks at the Polaroid, and there's like no legs. And she's like, "You're ghosts." And like instantly, she's like, "Are you all gross under there?" And she's like trying to peer through like the eye holes. And they take them off. They're like, "No, look, we're not gross." Also, you can see her. She's like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, how?" She's like, "Well, this is where we get the, well, I too am strange and unusual" line.
Yeah, this is really, really good because what she says to them is, "How do you see us?" And she's like, "Well, they say that the normal human people ignore the strange and unusual. However, I myself am strange and unusual."
Yeah.
And that's basically the only context we get as to why they can see her. But later on in the movie, her mum and dad, or her dad and stepmom, can also see them, and that's due to them accepting the reality of the situation. So I think it is quite well presented and tight knit in terms of loopholes and stuff like that you could probably dive into. I think it works well in the movie.
Yeah, I think it does well as well. And like, this is the point where the Maitlands now don't know how they're going to deal with this. And they actually summon Beetlejuice and they get sucked down into the model town and they dig him up. His conversation about his qualifications is the best monologue ever. 100% ad-libbed.
Oh yeah, I reckon everything he did in this movie was guided very mildly, and it was just like roll with it.
Yeah, like that whole monologue where he's like, "I survived the plague, I done this, I done that, and I've watched The Exercise 1,500 times, and it gets funnier every damn time." Like, none of that was written for him. That all just come out of his head, which is incredibly funny.
Oh god, this whole entire segment is the best segment of the movie, in my opinion. And he's constantly trying to grow up Gina Davis and look under a skirt. And he's just perfectly showcased as the sleaziest guy on the planet within a matter of minutes, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, they decide that they're not going to use him. They're like, "Look, we don't want your services." But this is where they don't realize they've actually summoned him. They said Beetlejuice 3 times. And he's
I
really
always
clever.
get a bit sketchy on how things work here because they've summoned him, but then they say home 3 times and they come out of the model. Which, by the way, when they get out of the model, has one of the most quotable lines in the movie, where he's like, "Oh, what is it? I'm a professional, or I'm working here." And then he kicks a tree.
You're working with a professional here.
And he kicks a tree and it falls over, and he's like, "Nice fucking model, honk honk." It's like, man, the amount of times we used to say that as children to each other, it's just unreal.
They decide not to use him, but they've summoned him, so he is now active, but he's not come out of the model yet. The dinner party that they put on, so you've got the Deetses have got all their friends and like co-workers and stuff around, and they do a dinner party, and the Maitlands make them dance to the banana boat song.
The boat song or something it's called, banana song.
Yeah, this is such a good scene. They're all dancing, they've got no control, and they get grabbed by the shrimp cocktail and like plunged down and then thrown back. Like, it's
hilarious.
It's
when
so
Otto picks
funny.
up the wine cooler and just starts tapping it like a drum, it breaks me every single time.
Yeah, and it's so well done. And honestly, if that happened to me, I'd be absolutely terrified. But the Deets is like, "This is the best thing in the world. Lydia, quick, come here. You need to get your people to come out now. We need to see them." And she's like, "They're not going to do that." And they head up to the attic. And they get into the attic, and this is where you've got Lydia and the Maitlands are hiding from them, which I think is funny because the ghosts are hiding in a corner when the rest of the people can't see them anyway. And you get Charles, which is the dad, takes the model town, and Ortho slyly picks up the handbook. And I think it's important to say that he picks this up with no one knowing, because later when he claims to be an expert, this is the 10 minutes he spent reading it in the car on his way up to the house.
Yeah.
Charles works out that this can be a very lucrative business. And this is as they're coming out of the loft. And this is where Beetlejuice attacks for the first time. And he comes out as a snake, and the banister turns into the snake. Brilliant. The effects are all incredible. I'm not a huge fan of stop motion, but Tim Burton does it better than anyone else.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm not
die
too
on
sure
that hill.
the production company. I'm not too sure the production company he uses to do his stop motion effects, but
No.
yeah, really, really good. And I think the thing is, if we dive into effects a little bit here in this segment, they're not the greatest, but I think that's the charm of the movie. And I think when I watch a lot of stuff and I bang on about practical effects and things like that, like I like practical effects that I can see the work gone into it. I don't want it to be so good it's almost realistic. Like I love the Hotel Inferno series. Like the effects on that are just basically what someone's made in their garage, but they're incredible. Phil Tippett, one of the great stop motion animation guys of all time, his recent movie that just came out on Shudder a few years back called Mad God. That is the kind of level of stop motion animation that I love. It's like that B movie, low budget. This is what we have. This is what we're working with, kind of level, and I just think it's amazing. And it's littered throughout this film from start to finish. And I can imagine a lot of people would watch this and think, "Oh my god, the effects in this are terrible." But like, no, they're not. They're not, for the reason of you actually know the effort that goes into making something like that. You would appreciate it a hell of a lot more, I think.
And I think they fit the tone. You CGI this movie up, it fails in my head. Like I couldn't imagine this being a CGI extravaganza. It wouldn't work for me on the same level that this does. I like seeing the fact that the Beetlejuice snake is quite clearly made of plasticine, but it's animated incredibly well.
And it holds up because there is a few instances of CGI in this movie. For instance, later on when they start turning into ghosts as they're levitating, well, as they get drawn out onto the table, which we'll get to, the CGI used to make them disappear looks terrible. And the CGI you get in the closing credit sequence where Beetlejuice is in the waiting room and his head shrinks, that looks fucking awful.
Yeah.
It looks really, really bad, but that's because it's dated extremely poorly. But the practical effects used to do the stop motion animation stuff still holds up fantastically well because it's an undated art form, I think. And yeah, don't get me wrong, when you've got stuff today like you have with the latest Chicken Run sequel, even though you know it's a plasticine thing, it's just so good and so fluid that it takes away that charm that some of the earlier Wallace and Gromit stuff from Aardman Animation has, in my opinion. Like the first Wallace and Gromit movie, Grand Day Out, in comparison to like the Wallace and Gromit stuff you get these days, everything that comes out now is so polished and so perfect. It's almost CGI. It's like Pixar level sort of CGI stop motion. And for me, I don't think it holds the same charm as it does when you can see like fingerprints on the molding as they're moving them and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you, which is rare when we talk about stop motion animation. But
because I know you hate it.
I do. The thing is, there's several movies it works in. This is one. I tend to find that when it's put in a Tim Burton world, it fits in that Tim Burton aesthetic better than it fits in lots of others. Like Tim Burton has built an entire aesthetic of movies around this kind of practical effects, and that's why it works for me. Like I can go from this into The Nightmare Before Christmas or into anything else he's done. Like even the new Wednesday series, if he'd have stuck a plasticine model in there, I would not have batted an eyelid. Gone, yeah, okay, that works for me.
And this is one of my biggest concerns with the upcoming sequel. Is I really hope they keep this kind of level of effects work. And he has said in numerous interviews, it's all going to be done practically. I just hope it's not good practical, if that makes sense. I want it to be as unpolished as what this one is from the 80s. And I think as a passion project this is for Tim Burton, and especially to get the cast back like he has done, I think these are the kind of things that he will focus on and will try and make more appealing to fans as opposed to new audiences. Let's just hope the production companies and Hollywood and all the rest of it don't get too heavily involved in it and try and push it in a more modernized direction.
we'll talk about it when we get to facts, but I think Burton's got enough sway. Like, even when he done this, there's a lot of things he violently kicks back, which we'll talk about in facts. It's Barbara here who puts Beetlejuice back in his box by saying Beetlejuice 3 times. And Lydia thinks that it's them that have done this. She doesn't know anything about Beetlejuice. His reaction, where he has an absolute meltdown and shouts and screams at him, and she tries to pick him up when he's little and like have a go at him. The spikes coming out of him is hilarious. Like, that cracks me up. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, well, I'm getting a little bit anxious, you know what I mean? And then like a whorehouse just pops up on the model, and he's like, oh yeah, just struts off to it. It's fucking funny.
And I'd never realized in all my previous watches the whorehouse was manifested by
Juno,
the caseworker. Yeah, Juno put it there to sort of distract him, because Gina Davis even turns around to him and says, oh, why have you built that into your model? And he's like, I didn't put it there.
And this is where they get summoned back to the Nether Realm, and this is where Juno's in there, and she's got an American football team around her.
And they're all calling a coach. This is hilarious.
Yeah, they're like, Coach, can I use the bathroom, Coach? She's like, I'm not your coach. He survived.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, like, it's just so stereotypical of jocks and making them stupid that they're having this constant interaction. And even after they're finished with Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin's character, like 5 minutes later, one of them walks back in and goes, Coach, I think we're dead. Yeah. She just like rolls her eyes as if to say, for fuck's sake.
And this is where she gives them the riot act. She's like, you let Beetlejuice loose, you've lost the book. I'm not going to have like a routine haunting give proof that the afterlife is a thing. So you're going to go back, you're going to sort out what's going on, you're going to get that family out and get the book back. So how are you going to do it? The faces they pull and this stop motion scene, I think, is the best in the movie.
Yeah, it looks so cool. Yeah, and iconic as well. You instantly recognize these. These are the things where if you saw the faces that they make in this moment with the eyeballs on the fingers and stuff like that, that's instantly, oh, that's from Beetlejuice. You know exactly where that's from. I really like it because Alec Baldwin's character changes first, and he pulls his eyes out, puts them on his fingers and stretches his face. And then Gina Davis goes next and puts her eyes in the mouth, but they look pretty similar. They're like duckbill characters. And it's when Alec Baldwin then has to get his glasses and put his fingers to his glasses so he can see what she looks like. I was like, that is fucking quality.
Yeah, well thought out as well. That's a tiny little detail, but it works so well because it's like, well, of course, his eyes aren't very good. He needs the glasses to see what's going on.
It is, and again, down to incredible writing, you get the subplot of Winona Ryder's character wanting to commit suicide to go and experience this afterlife experience, but you also get Juno saying to them that they don't want anybody to know that the afterlife is real. And you've got these two juxtapositions of storytelling which explains perfectly, without saying it on screen, why she doesn't want people to know that the afterlife is real, because they will all try and get there to experience it, which is exactly what Lydia's character is doing as soon as she knows it's a possibility.
Yeah,
I think that's perfect. They don't need to spell it out for you on screen because they have the two contrasting stories playing out at the same time.
Yeah, and like they handle this really well. So you've got the bit where Lydia meets Beetlejuice for the first time, and he tries to convince her to let him out, and she says Beetlejuice twice, and then she realizes that he was the snake. And we also get a scene here where Barbara talks to Lydia about the afterlife, going, look, you don't want this, you want to live your life. And it's a really, like, this whole 3.5 minute segment ties up like an entire subplot in such a neat little bow, that Lydia's had these dark thoughts that she wants to do that, and she's met Beetlejuice and she's realized that he's bad and there's dark elements to this, and straight away you've got Barbara coming in going, look, you don't want this, like, you've got a whole life to lead. And it's really well handled and really delicately handled around a subject that it normally isn't handled like that. It's done really, really well.
And again, the movie sets all of this up perfectly earlier on by knowing that the time passing differently when they're in the Nether Realm as opposed to what it's like on Earth. As far as Lydia's aware, is that they've gone and they've left, and she's trying to find them. And the only way she could do that is by ending her own life to reconnect with them.
Yeah.
So time has passed for her anyway, but for Gina Davis and Alex Baldwin, they've been gone a matter of minutes or half an hour or an hour, however long it is. She thinks they've gone up and left her alone, and she wants to try and find them again. And the only way she can do that is by ending her life. And this is when she stumbles onto Beetlejuice in the attic, and he's like, "Look, you help me, I'll help you. You've got to free me." And luckily enough, Gina Davis's character comes in just in time to stop her saying the final Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
One thing as well I wanted to ask you is the movie's called Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Title character's called Beetlejuice, but it's spelled differently.
Yeah.
Was it
Beetle Guys.
Beetle Guys? Yeah, but they say it is Beetle Guys, but he pronounces it Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Why did they not call it the same spelling as his name? Because to me, it doesn't make any sense why they would change the spelling of the movie to categorize
it was just
who spelled it differently.
I actually know, and I didn't put it in my facts, so that's like perfect setup. That they changed. It was a studio decision, and the studio decision was based on the fact that if you release a movie where people can't even pronounce the name of the title, it is gonna flop.
I couldn't pronounce it. When I was reading it, I was like, is that Beetlejuice or is that Beetlegeist or Betelgeuse? Or so it was originally titled as his name is spelt in the movie, and then they just changed it for advertising purposes for release.
Yeah, but basically it was. Yeah, we'll talk about
that was the case.
We'll talk about the names it was called prior and Tim Burton's backlash at studios for some of the ideas they come up with for this and the sequel. Like Tim Burton was very much like, no, you're stupid.
The one where we're supposed to be going to Hawaii in the sequel.
Yeah. We'll talk about it in depth. There's a lot about that. Ortho and Charles now have taken the model downstairs, and they've got Charles's old boss has come up from the city, and they give a presentation on turning the entire town into a haunted attraction. And this is where Charles turns around to Lydia and goes, "Look, can you make them appear?" She's like, "No, like they're not going to do that." And this is where Ortho steps up with the handbook for the recent deceased. He goes, "Well, I can make this happen." And they do this like seance. He's like, "I need something personal of theirs." And this is where Catherine Harris like, "Oh, well, I know something." And she goes and gets the wedding dress and the wedding suit we saw at the very beginning of the movie. Yeah. And he starts to do a ritual that brings them, like, drags them from the attic into their wedding clothes that are on the table in front of them. They appear and they instantly start to sort of decay. Yeah. And there's a bit where Lydia goes, "You're killing them." And Catherine Howard goes, "Don't be so silly. They're already dead." It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah,
you can see they're in pain.
This is one scene in particular where they blend CGI and practical effects, and it doesn't hold up very well. The practical effects that they use are fantastic, but when they transition it using an overlay of CGI to try and show that transitional period from the aging, so obviously you have them in practical makeup effects throughout the various stages of decay, all look fantastic, but then they put this weird CGI overlay to show the transition instead of just doing a cut edit and then showing them again a little bit older. They have this weird sort of like, almost like, remember when Snapchat first came out and you used to get those stupid face filters? It's like that over the top of the practical effects, but like really faint. Doesn't look great, doesn't hold up fantastically, and that is really one of my biggest criticisms regarding the CGI. Is this scene in particular really stood out to me on this latest rewatch.
Yeah, I think that the CGI is bad, but they show so little of it, it doesn't bother me as much. Like you get here where Lydia she's almost distraught, and she runs up to the model, and she's like, Beetlejuice is sat there in his black and white suit, and he's sat on a gravestone, just smiling. And she's like, "I need your help." He's like, "Well, babe, you do something for me, and I'm going to do something for you. So I'll save your friends, and you're going to marry me because I need that to stay in the real world. Like, if you marry me, I can stay put." He's like, "It's a marriage of inconvenience. Like, you get what you want, I get what I want, everyone wins." It's like, It's not. It's not the best deal. But she summons him, and this is where we get what is his most iconic line the man's ever said. It's not "I'm Batman." It's showtime.
It's showtime. Brilliant. I love it
Yeah.
every time he does it.
Yeah, and it's done so well, like the way it's lit, and as he opens his hands and says "Showtime," you get like lightning flashes behind him. It's brilliant, and when he unleashes from here, he is hilarious. It's so unnecessarily over the top. Like he comes out of the table with a carousel going on his head. He rolls out two big mallets and he like bashes two people up through the roof. He like stops the Maitlands being hurt and they drop to the floor and start to reappear upstairs. Like, and he deals with everything in seconds, like absolute seconds. And as soon as he's done it, he's like, anyway, let's get the show on the road. And the fireplace turns into a doorway and you get this weird little creature like priest from the netherworld comes in and starts the wedding ceremony. It's wild.
The actor who plays the little priest is you see Me, Myself, and Irene?
Yes.
Do you know the little guy who has sex with Jim Carrey's wife? And they have That's him. That's him under.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I only know that because I was IMDbing today because I was curious about Otto's character and his passing and stuff like that. And then it came up that he was in the movie. I was like, where the fuck is he in this movie? And then obviously that is where.
Yeah, I love this whole wedding scene. I'm going to say it. There's a real element of this that is very pedo-y because Lydia's meant to be like 15, 16. Beetlejuice is like 100 and something. Yeah, it's not a good look, but it's not a good thing, but it kind of plays to show how much of a scumbag that Beetlejuice is. It just kind of adds that level of you really are a bad person to him.
I mean, the thing is, I never really took it as being a sexual thing with her because he's never that way towards Lydia ever in the entire movie. And we know how sexually perverse he is with the strip club thing and the whole way he is as soon as he gets a chance to be with Gina Davis's character. But he's never like that whenever he is with Winona Ryder. So you can tell, you know that what he's doing this for is for the purpose of escaping. So although we're not supposed to like Beetlejuice as a character, he's never stepped far enough for him to be distasteful in that way, which I think is really, really clever in terms of the writing side of things, because he could have been just as distasteful with her as he is with Gina Davis's character, which would make the whole wedding situation very icky.
Yeah.
But for me, watching it, I never took it that way. It was more just an ends to a meet kind of thing, meet to an ends or whatever, however you pronounce that phrase. So he's not gropey with her, he's not sexualizing her, he's not doing anything that he did. I mean, with Gina Davis's character, when he first meets her, he's like licking her face and kissing her and trying to look up her skirt, and this is all within a matter of seconds. He's never like that with Lydia at all.
No.
So I get what you're saying. Yeah, in context, it's obviously very wrong because she's very young child and he's a dirty old man. But the way it plays out on screen, it never really came to my mind that was the case.
No, it was only something that I noticed on this watch. It was something I went, hang on a minute, she's only like 15, 16. What are you doing?
Yeah. But Winona Ryder is very, very young in this movie.
Yeah, she is very, very young. The wedding ring cracked me up. They get to the point of the ceremony. He's like, have you got the ring? He's like, yeah, sure. And he pulls a finger out of his pocket with a wedding ring on. He's like, she meant nothing to me, babe. Don't worry. It was just a thing. And all the time this is happening, you've got Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis are both trying to say Beetlejuice. Like he banishes Alec Baldwin, like shrinks him down and sends him to the model. Gina Davis says Beetlejuice and he puts a zipper across her mouth. She unzips it and says Beetlejuice again. And then he like pop rivets a steel plate across her face. And then he banishes. So and then he banishes her outside. Also, the witnesses for the wedding is Lydia's mum and dad, and he uses the mum Catherine O'Hara's statues to pin them in position. Yeah, those statues are fucking awful. Like,
well, that statue that binds Catherine O'Hara, that statue is going to make an appearance in the sequel, and we know that it's going to make an appearance in the sequel because it was robbed from set. Recently, there was a big news article about it that it had been stolen from the set of Beetlejuice 2. So it'd be interesting to see that return.
yeah, what a weird thing. You're excited for the return of a fucking god-awful statue in Beetlejuice.
But it's iconic, isn't it? It's used so much throughout the movie, and then it like when it crashes through that kitchen when the dad's making the tea earlier on, and it just comes crashing through when they're doing the house renovations. There's so much in this movie that we could have spoken about that we've had to gloss over because every little beat is a moment worthy of discussion. But if we did that, we'd be here all day.
Yeah, we would. Adam's character has a moment that always reminds me of Back to the Future. Like, you know, Back to the Future where they put the little car on the model and they set it off and it shoots off the end. Him getting in the truck and driving off and driving through the house reminds me of that. And it reminds me of the scene from Gremlins where Gizmo's driving the car. Like, it's those two scenes merge into one. He shoots across the floor and drives into Beetlejuice's foot, which kind of delays the ceremony. And this is where you get Barbara, who's been banished outside, bursts through the roof, riding a sandworm, and eats Beetlejuice. He's eaten.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because she got banished to the sand dunes, didn't she?
Yeah, she got banished to the sand dunes. And I'm going to say it now, the end of this movie is so weird. But I have a really strong theory to the end of this movie. So we get a scene, it's set sometime after the events that's happened. And you see Lydia leave school and she comes home. She comes indoors and she's met by the Maitlands. Yes. And they question her how she's done on her exam. She's like, I got a C in science, but I got an A in maths. And he's like, well, I don't know if you deserve it. And she's like, oh, come on. He's like, all right then. And they do the dancing where she floats up.
Hey, Sonara, shake your body, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you sung it because I'm not allowed to play it for copyright reasons. But yeah, like that scene there. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. So you see the mum and dad downstairs and they look up, but Lydia come through the front door of the house on the ground level. Where are they?
Oh, I didn't notice that. They look up.
Yeah, they look up to go, oh, she's come in. How did she do? I know where they are.
So you think they're dead?
No.
He's in the library. It flashes up to him later on. He's in the library room, which is upstairs, which is where he spends his relaxation time.
They're in the attic. So the Maitlands are living in the model house. That's why it's decorated different to the rest of the house.
Do you think so?
I think they're living in the model house and Lydia's come into the model house at the end of the day where they've shrunk her down so she can come in. I think that's how they managed to coexist.
I don't think so. I think, I mean, yeah, that's a cool theory, and I suppose in a sense is plausible. But how would you shrink her down? Surely they don't have the abilities to be able to do that. My interpretation of this ending was that after what Beetlejuice had done, Catherine O'Hara's character and the dad had kind of accepted the dangers that come with the afterlife and all the rest of it. They want to keep peace with the Maitlands. They promise to put their house back to how it was. And they kind of step up as more of the parents because Winona Ryder's character comes out of a shell. She loses all her gothic clothes. She gets back to she has a normal style haircut. She's doing really well at school. And the first thing that she is greeted with when she comes through the door is them. And they're like these perfect model parents. And she comes in to tell them the exciting news, and both Catherine O'Hara and her husband are upstairs, and it's almost like they've stepped into the parent role that she's always wanted.
Yeah,
and they've just carried on with life as normal and accepted them, and they've just coexisted within this house. I don't know. I like what you're saying. I just don't know.
That's the perfect way for them to coexist because I can't see Catherine O'Hara's character backing down on anything. Like I can see their house downstairs being as it was, all like modernly decorated, and the Maitlands are living in the model house upstairs on their model table, and they've got their perfect life, and two people have their perfect life, and Lydia bounces between the two.
Yeah.
This is something they dealt with a little bit better in the cartoon, but again, we'll talk about that in facts. We get the waiting room scene.
Yes. This would have been
this-
like a mid-credit scene, by the way, if we'd have had this come out by today's standard. This would have been like an Avengers mid-credit scene.
Yeah, so you've got Beetlejuice sat next to a guy with a shrunken head, sat next to a witch doctor of some description. The witch doctor is number 4. Beetlejuice is like 9,970,000. And he's like, oh my God, look, it's Elvis. And the witch doctor looks up and he snatches his thing and drops the thing on his head. And the guy with the shrunken head next to him cracks me up every time because he's like, eyes down, like shaking his head, going, you shouldn't have done that, because he's obviously done it. And the witch doctor just sprinkles something on his head and shrinks Beetlejuice's head down. It's brilliant.
Terrible CGI, but it's a hilarious scene.
It is hilariously funny. Should we take a quick break?
Yeah, please.
Let's do that. I'm going to do that, but I'm not sure where the advert is. It's there. Here we go. Hold on. I need to say it again.
You're working with a professional here!
When you finish with this episode, why not head over to yourunpodcast.com and check out the Horror Friendly Podcast. Hosted by Charlie, Katie and Chantel, this is an exciting, entertaining and funny podcast covering horror movies from the past, the present and new releases as well. Do not miss out on this super exciting show hosted by 3 of the greatest hosts in all of podcasting. Go and check them out at yourunpodcast.com today. So make sure you go and check out the Horror Friendly Podcast and all of the other members on the network. yourunpodcast.com to check all of those out. Let's do some 3-word reviews. We'll start on X. Trekaholic. Keaton steals it. That's a Star Trek account. Quadfector. Strange and unusual. And they're a YouTube streamer. We've got Cinema Poison. Sleepaway Camp Nod. They're a cinema podcast. And that nod is so understated. Like, it's so quick. Like, you could easily miss that. If you're not a horror fan, that would pass you by.
Yeah, definitely.
Leon Blander, Michael Keaton's Joker, and he's an author. I'd love to see Michael Keaton play the Joker.
I still, to this day, think Willem Dafoe should have been the Joker at some point in his career.
I still think we're going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
the
too
trailer
many.
for Joker 2, by the way. You happy? You excited? I know you're a big Joker fan.
I am. It's a musical.
But it's not. It is not.
No, it is. It is. It's like The Greatest Showman, but in the Joker universe. That's how the directors described it.
I think there'll be like a grounded element of the movie, and then you'll have this sort of
like The Greatest Showman.
I haven't seen The Greatest Showman, so I have no context.
What?
For that. No,
You've not seen The Greatest Showman?
no.
Right. We're going to step away from horror movies for 1 second now. Mark, I promise you, if you watch The Greatest Showman, it will be the best movie you've seen this year.
So why the fuck are you sighing about the Joker 2 being like The Greatest Showman?
Because it's the Joker. It's not meant to be. I don't want him singing and dancing. I'm sure it's going to be good. I'm not sold on the whole.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, and I think
they're going so left field with it that they must be confident in what they're bringing to the table for them to go down this path with it.
Yeah, and Lady Gaga, I think she's fabulous in pretty much anything she touches. But she makes money in everything. Everything she touches is gold. So yeah,
The Star Is Born is fucking fantastic. She's incredible.
She's an incredible actress. She's also an incredible singer, and I think, yeah, I don't know what Joaquin Phoenix's voice is like.
No, I don't either. But I think if you go to stage school and you're as talented as he is, you must have some sort of vocal training.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. As he's in a
like
music.
Russell Crowe from Les Miserables, and then we're in for a world of hurt.
On Instagram, Dad's Got Steel, hauntingly good time, and they're a physical media collector. So I Married a Horror Fan, Burton's best movie, and they're a horror podcast. Nerdy Dad 42. nice fucking modern. And then he put in brackets, grabs balls. And they're a mixed fan of account. Everon 138, Dante's Inferno hot. And there are horror fan and goth girl who likes Disney. And ending it off with Lady Crisis, the queen of TikTok, made my millennium.
Brilliant.
Yeah. There are no TikTok talks this week because I'm on a little bit of a hiatus, currently on a ban. Don't want to talk about it too much. We'll skim over it. Maybe we'll talk more about it next week. Do you want to do this?
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's that time of the week. Time for Marc to recommend an account.
To be honest with you, mate, I thought this had died. We haven't done it in about 6 months, so I haven't come prepared. But what I do want to talk about, it's more a recommended TV show than it is an account. We had a recent week off, which is something that is very rare for us on this show. So, and with me being as busy as I am, I don't tend to watch movies when I'm really, really busy because it takes effort. And usually if I'm watching a movie, it's for reviewing purposes, so it requires work. So when I want to switch off, I'll usually dive headfirst into a TV series. I did like Stranger Things recently. I've done that from season 1 to season 4 in about 2 weeks, which was like the best time I've ever had in my entire life, by the way. Season 4 is fucking incredible. I've watched season 1, 2, and 3 multiple times, mainly in preparation for like season 4 coming out, but I'd only ever seen season 4 once. Season 4 is fucking amazing, by the way.
Yeah,
It's the greatest television series put to screen. I don't know if that's a show won any awards, but it really should have done for what they produced in season 4, and I'm so excited for season 5. Stranger Things gushing over and done with. That's not actually the show that I wanted to recommend. It's a little unknown TV show on Netflix that comes from South Korea. It's called All of Us Are Dead. It's a horror zombie apocalypse based TV show, which is fucking phenomenal. It was just something that I'd seen pop up numerous times as I'd been scrolling through Netflix, and I thought, oh, that looks interesting. I'll put it on my watch list, and then, as always, never get round to it. But we had a bit of free time from doing show prep and stuff like that, so I thought, I'll just put episode 1 on while I'm doing other stuff in the background. I just got absorbed into it. It was so good. The practical effects and stuff in that are like Hollywood blockbuster level effects with the makeup and visual effects and stuff like that. It's so cool. The story, I'm going to be honest with you, the story level of it is set in a school. So the zombie apocalypse breaks out in a school. So you're dealing with a lot of teenage drama that is sometimes a little bit difficult to relate to as a 35-year-old man. Some of the stuff I was a bit like, I kind of think this is a little bit cheesy, but it soon passes and it picks up really, really well. And it had this really cool cliffhanger always at the end of every episode. The same experience that I got the first time I used to watch Prison Break back on Sky, where it goes like the end of the episode, you're like, fuck, what happens next? And it picks up immediately afterwards. I watched all episodes of that in like a couple of days. I thought it was fantastic. I think it came out in 2021, possibly 2022. They've had a couple of year break, but they are coming back this year with season 2. They do some really cool and interesting things with the virus and how it affects people and how it affects certain types of people and how some people can be bitten by it, and it almost gives them superpower level abilities.
Okay.
In order, and they have to like there's only like 2 or 3 characters in the whole series who kind of get bitten but then don't turn, but then it also gives them the ability to not be killed and gives them like super strength and stuff like that. It was great. I thought it was really clever, really unique, and puts a nice little twist on the zombie apocalypse style stuff. So if you've seen it on your Netflix, which most of you probably have, I would strongly recommend checking it out, and now's the perfect time to do so. As I say, season 2 is coming out later on this year. I don't have a confirmed date for when it is, but I thought it was fucking brilliant. Really, really good storytelling, really, really cool visual effects, and yeah, it's a fantastic show. And now I know that recommended account of the week is back after such a hiatus. I'll make sure I'm prepared more next week.
Okay, and
I'm quite glad I was quick on the mark there to think of something, by the way.
I'm going to throw one in as well. So the Fallout series debuted a couple of days ago on Prime. The Fallout series, in my opinion, I'm not all the way through it yet. From what I have seen so far, is the greatest video game adaptation ever made by a country fucking mile. It leaves The Last of Us. It leaves The Last of Us languishing in some sort of we tried really hard, but we didn't quite make it category. And The Last of Us is fabulous. Like Fallout is so pitch perfect from the tone to the cast to like everything is perfect about the universe that they've built it in, but they've told a different story. Like fuck everything you know, like they've not told a story that we know already. They've just taken that world and told something new, and it is fantastic.
I've never played any of the Fallout games. Would I need to in order to appreciate the show? Or could I just go in as a newbie and enjoy it? I know it's by the creators of the Westworld.
Yeah,
you another.
Yeah, you could go in and enjoy it. They explain everything really well. They like the first couple of episodes, they give you enough narrative that you know what's going on. And if you're a Fallout fan and you have played the games, you do what I done for the first 2 episodes, going, oh my God, look at that. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, look, there's one of those. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, they've done that. Like little things like while they're just wandering around, there's things that you pick up in the game that are just randomly lying on tables. Like they have no bearing on the series, but they've put the effort to put them in there. So that's 2 series recommendations this week. So go and check both of them out.
It must be doing well because I've seen a lot of like memes and stuff on social media where people are taking like the characters from the Halo TV series and they're all like looking sad and depressed, looking up at like the Fallout TV series characters. So it's obviously mocking the Halo series as if to say,
which is
it to do, but much better.
Yeah, the Halo series is atrocious.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
That's awful. Anyway, let's do some facts. This is Michael Keaton's favorite movie he's ever made.
I understand why, especially considering if he'd ad-libbed most of it.
The studio wanted to call this House Ghost. And when they pitched this in a meeting, Tim Burton went, well, what if we're going to do that? Why don't we just call it Scared Sheetless? And he was joking. And the studio went, that's a great idea. And then he had to battle for over a month to get them not to call it Scared Sheetless.
Scared Sheetless is pretty good and actually is quite fitting for the tone of the movie and the events of the movie that happened with the ghosts and the sheet and stuff.
Yeah, but it was Tim Burton threw it out there as a joke and some studio exec went, great idea, we're going to do that. Let's write that down. And he's there going, no. I was kidding. And this is exactly what happened with the sequel. So they had a meeting after this become a success about what they could do with the sequel. And Tim Burton went, oh yeah, it's really easy. What we'll do is we're going to send him to Hawaii and we're going to set it there and it'll be around a different family. He's going to haunt a different family because that story's told. He's going to go and do that. And the studio are like, that's brilliant. And Tim Burton's like, no, I'm fucking with you. Why would we send Beetlejuice to Hawaii? And it became a thing that they had teams of writers working on a script of Beetlejuice in Hawaii on the back of something Tim Burton said as a joke.
That's insane. I knew it was like a thing and like it was actually trying to get off the ground, but I didn't know it was just based on some stupid sarky comment that Tim Burton had made to execs.
Yeah, and 100% there will be a reference in Beetlejuice 2 to that. There will be a scene where he's going to be on a beach in Hawaii just to satisfy those niche fans that know about it.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Michael Keaton ad-libbed 90% of his lines is the fact that you'll find everywhere. When I'd done a bit of digging, I found an interview with Tim Burton where Tim Burton said, we had lines for Michael Keaton. He was so limited on time with us on set. Whatever he said, we took. He didn't read a single line I wrote for him. So, which again, brilliant. Michael Keaton or Beetlejuice is in this movie for 14 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a lot. I knew I was underestimating it when I said 6 earlier.
The thing is, though, he's spaced out. So it's not like it's a little bit like the first Nightmare on Elm Street, where Freddy's only for like 12 minutes. Like you get you get a little bit, then you get a little bit, then you get a big bit. but that's all you need, because the other characters, it's about the other characters. He's almost a subplot, even though he's the name of the movie.
Yeah.
So Glenn Shaddix played Ortho. He died in September 2010. What song do you think was the last thing played at his memorial service?
Surely it's got to be the Banana Boat song. Rightly so, man. That's awesome.
And that's fabulous. Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas debuted in this movie. Did you spot it?
Yes, he's on Beetlejuice's hat as he comes out later on, along with the Batman logo at the top.
Yes. So this is when Tim Burton had created that character. He had an idea for it, and this was early stages of, I will just sling it in there, see what it does. But yeah, the Batman logo is there as well. This is
You're working with a professional here!
The success of this movie spawned an animated series. Did you ever watch the animated series?
Yes, I loved it as a kid. I thought it was brilliant.
Really, really good. It doesn't bear much resemblance to this movie, but there are many nods to the movie. Like every time someone tries to say Beetlejuice, he will cover their mouth in variously hilarious ways. Like one of the episodes,
like the adventures of him and Lydia as like a team. It's quite jarring, really, in the context of the actual movie, but it is fantastic.
Really, really cool. In the waiting room, you know, the magician assistant who's been cut in half, and Beetlejuice is like feeling up her leg.
Yeah,
that was Tim Burton's girlfriend at the time.
Who was his girlfriend at the time? It wasn't.
No idea. No, it wasn't. Helen Bonham Carter. Yeah, it wasn't her.
I love Helen Bonham.
I do. She's amazing, and she's one of the hottest women on the planet.
No.
Yeah, she really is.
She is. She's in that same. I have a weird category.
Me too.
Enough. Winona Ryder is in it. Helen Bonham is probably in it. Drew Barrymore is definitely in it. There's a few others that I've spoken about in the past on this show that are there. It's an eclectic taste, but I'm there.
It is, and I think it's really bizarre and probably quite telling of our childhoods that our eclectic taste is the same. So there was originally a really dark ending to this. So the original ending of this, Lydia died in a fire, and then lived her life in the afterlife with her dream family, the Maitlands. It was Tim Burton who changed it, and Tim Burton changed it for the reason that he didn't think showing death as a happy ending was a good message to send into the world.
No.
At 100% right. Yeah. I like this one. This is such a small, you know, when we said about attention to detail, like this is attention to detail to ridiculous levels. So just before they have the dinner party scene, Delia mentions that one of their guests is a writer for Art in America magazine. In the last scene, where you see Charles sat with Catherine O'Hara's character, on the table next to him, there is a copy of that magazine where she is on the cover with some of her sculptures, and it's got the tagline, images in the afterlife by Delia Dietz.
That's cool.
It's so cool. Beetlejuice wears his striped suit for how long?
3 seconds.
4 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yeah, he literally the most iconic. I was going to ask you earlier, which is your most iconic Beetlejuice outfit? Like, what do you prefer? Because I know that the stripy one is the one that's on the main cover of the retail DVDs and VHS covers.
I like the one where he's got
2 minutes.
I like the one where he's got the flat cap and like the dusty jacket, and like that's how I see him.
Is it the captain? Is it, or the chauffeur or something like that? Yeah, I like that one. I think for me it's going to be the burgundy wedding suit that I like the most out of all of them.
Yeah, and the costume design for Beetlejuice in this throughout is, it looks like someone went through someone's wardrobe from the 70s and just threw whatever shit they had at him and he put it on.
Yeah. Even when he wears like Alec Baldwin's outfit to mirror him, to say, yeah, come on, man, we're the same. That's really funny.
We nearly got several other Beetlejuices before we got Michael Keaton. So all of these people either auditioned for the role, were offered the role, or rejected it through scheduling conflicts. Tell me if any of these would do it for you as Beetlejuice. Dustin Hoffman,
No.
Robin
I like
Williams.
Dustin Hoffman. I think he's a fantastic actor, but I don't think this is not. No.
No. Robin Williams.
Would have been incredible. Like, absolutely. That guy can do no wrong in my eyes. And I think he would have taken this to the sort of Aladdin genie level, incredible stuff that he has within his soul and made this so iconic. But I don't think it would have been as. Like, it's hard to say, yes, Robin Williams would have been perfect when we've got such an incredible performance from Michael Keaton. But fuck, man, I would love to have seen Robin Williams do this.
Yeah, I agree. We've got quite a few of these, so I'm not going to ask you your thoughts on all of them. Christopher Lloyd?
No. I like Christopher Lloyd as well, though.
Jim Carrey?
No.
Tim Curry?
Yes, definitely.
Jack Nicholson?
Nope.
Bill Murray?
Nope. I don't like Bill Murray. We know we don't like Bill Murray here.
Robert De Niro?
No.
And my favourite of all of these, the one I would love to see it, John Cleese.
I don't know with John. I'm not a big Monty Python fan. I don't know. I'm not a Monty Python fan. I'm not really a massive John Cleese fan. I think he's great and I can appreciate him for what he is. But he's like, his sense of humor and his dated jokes are like before my time to appreciate his quite, in all essence, slightly racist, sexist, and dated performance levels. It would have been interesting, don't get me wrong, but it's so hard to imagine anybody else in the role of Beetlejuice after what Michael Keaton has done here. One thing that really surprised me as well is like, this was before the whole Johnny Depp Tim Burton pairing. You can only imagine that if Johnny Depp had been on the scene before this, he would have been Beetlejuice in this movie 100%. Which I think he could have probably pulled off.
I'm convinced he's in Beetlejuice too.
I'm
fucking convinced.
I am. But I think it'll be cameo, and I think he'll be in heavy prosthetics, and probably won't even be credited. But I think during the time of filming this movie was during the whole
Amber Turd. Yeah, sorry, that's a turd. I meant Heard.
I don't know. It might be one of those things where he's in it, unnamed, under heavy prosthetics, as like, "Hey, you're my mate," Tim Burton kind of thing. But I don't think he's going to get the glory for it. It's one of those things where in like 10 years' time, we'll be like, "Oh, that character in Beetlejuice 2, that was actually Johnny Depp."
Yeah, like at the end of 21 Jump Street, where he's in that in heavy prosthetics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be something that's going to come out and be like. But don't get me wrong, if it wasn't for the Amber Turd case going on at the time, I think he would have played a quite predominant role in this movie.
Yeah, I do. We're going to play a new game. It's called Let the Juice Loose. This is a game we used to play on YouTube way back in the day, and it's really simple. So you're going to take a. I think you may have. You're going to take a swig of whatever hoppy juice you have. And once that's in your mouth, I'm going to tell a very inappropriate joke. Apologies in advance. These are dark humor to the extreme. And all you need to do is not let the juice loose. Fun fact, Lisa does work on this show. So Lisa works behind the scenes and looks over what I put into the world. These are how many have I got? These are the 8 jokes that Lisa vetoed from the show in 2023.
Right.
I need to
compose myself because I'm quite weak to this. I know some of the jokes that you've tried to put forward in the past, and I'm like, dude, you can't say that.
I mean no offense by any of these, and these are done in the tone of dark humor, so please don't take offense to any of these, but some of these are very close to the mark. So are you ready?
Always.
Okay, so if you take a sip of your drink. Why is there air conditioning in hospital? To keep the vegetables cool and fresh. No, you kept the juice in. You can swallow that now.
Dude, I could swallow it. I'm going to be wrecked by the time we finish this game. This is strong beer.
Right, take another sip for the second one.
I'm like literally downing a full beer now.
It's good fun. What does a burnt pizza, a pregnant woman, and a frozen pear all have in common? Someone forgot to pull out. No, you've kept that in as well. I think you used your hand, which is a cheat, but you kept it in.
Dude. No, man, no. Do these get worse?
Yeah, I've started with the mild ones.
Right. How many more have we got? Another 6?
Yeah.
Right.
Take smaller sips. Right, are you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
How do you stop your wife drowning in July? Easy. Drown the bitch in May. No.
I had to swallow because I felt like that was going to go then.
You're doing so well. I think it'll be this one or the next one that gets you. Are you ready for the next one? Okay. What does a cop say when they shoot a ginger person? Oh, shit. Turns out orange is the new black.
No, that's not okay.
You've got 4 to go.
Not okay, man. Oh, God. Good job we're not American. That would have hit home a lot harder.
Yeah, go on. Okay. Why can't Michael Jackson play chess? Because he's dead. I think I've broken. Mark's just glitched. I think I've broken him.
Why is it always the stupid ones that get me? I think I've just choked.
Are you okay?
That almost came out my nose. Right, okay.
You got 3 to go. So when you're ready, I'm ready. You can. I've seen you drink way more beer than this.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God.
When I die, I want to die peacefully, just like my grandfather, not like the screaming passengers in his car. You done well with that one. Okay. You have 2 left.
God, I'm feeling lightheaded. I don't know if it's because I'm like holding my breath, trying not to laugh, or it's because I'm drinking this beer so quickly.
You've got 2 left, and I'm determined to get you. So here we go. The other day, my wife asked me to pass her a lipstick. I passed her the glue stick by mistake, and she still isn't talking to me. Oh, that was an easy win.
That was weak, mate. That was very weak from you.
Okay.
You should have
So I'm coming.
That one.
Coming in with the last one.
I feel gassy. Right. Here we go.
Okay. What's the quickest way to get a nun pregnant? Dress her up like a choir boy.
I'm not doing it. I'm not spitting it out. But that, yeah. That should come with a warning sign.
Like I said, these jokes are very dark and I mean nothing by it. It's just in dark humor. Would you like to round this up first or would you like me to take it?
I'll round up first this week because I don't have an awful lot to say, I'll be honest with you. Everything in the episode I've already highlighted that I know what stands out to me as great about this movie, be that by the practical effects or I think the intelligent writing that's gone into creating it. The pairing of Tim Burton and Danny Elfman is absolutely phenomenal. I think the casting is almost pitch perfect in a way. Whether that be from Catherine O'Hara, Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis. I always forget the guy who played Otto, but he's fucking brilliant in this role as well. Winona Ryder, everybody's fantastic in what they do. It feels weird to round it up with criticisms, but it's kind of our job to critique movies. That's kind of why we're here doing the podcast. So I just want to focus on a few things that kind of stood out to me a little bit more than usual on this latest rewatch. I don't feel like there is. It's weird to say because a movie doesn't necessarily require it, because it is just a light-hearted, schlocky, fun movie. And if you wanted to dive deep into the lore, that's not really the kind of movie you're getting yourself in for. It's just an A to B kind of ride, and you just go along and enjoy it for what it is. But I suppose when you're dissecting it on the level that we're trying to do here on the podcast, there's a few things that stood out to me this watch where I was like, I didn't understand enough about Beetlejuice in terms of his staying power and how he can survive, and how the wedding was vital for him to be free. I would have liked to have had a little bit more of the lore fleshed out, not just on Beetlejuice's character, but in terms of the lore as a whole regarding the entire afterlife and the Neverrealm section and what happens after they've stayed in the house for 160 so years. Thankfully enough, we have the sequel coming out in a few months, and I'm kind of hoping that kind of gives us a little bit more context to some of the issues that I've had with this movie from that standpoint. But all in all, regardless of those lingering questions that I have, they don't affect my enjoyment when watching this film. This is like the mainstay in my house when I was a kid. I used to love this movie. It was something that many people had Ghostbusters. I wasn't a big Ghostbusters guy. I had Beetlejuice, and me and all my friends, we used to watch Beetlejuice and quote it to each other and talk about it from that perspective. So for me, this holds more nostalgia than most. It's a 5 out of 5 for me. I think it's perfect. I enjoyed it just as much in my rewatch today than I did when I watched it when I was 14 years old, watching a movie that I probably shouldn't be watching. I think it's perfect. I think it is literally just lightning in a bottle. That's the only way to describe it. It is lightning in a bottle. I have lingering questions, but again, that's not what the movie is there to do. They're just my own personal curiosities that I wish were answered within the movie. And that's not anything against the movie itself. That's just me wanting more from it. That's because I enjoyed it so much, and I was so curious about the film that I wanted to know more about what goes on within this world. So yeah, I'm really excited for Beetlejuice 2. I know a lot of people are quite apprehensive about it and whether it's going to tarnish the reputation that this original movie holds. At the end of the day, it's the same with this as it is with remakes and anything else. You don't like the sequel, ignore it. Just enjoy what this is here. And this is a perfect movie from start to finish, fantastically paced throughout. It gets top marks from me.
Yeah. And also, when you watch this, you were allowed to watch this. This was originally released as a PG. When I rented this to watch it now, I rented this on Amazon. This is rated a 15 in the UK now.
That's it. I always assumed it would have been. I don't own it on VHS, otherwise I would have checked what the original release was.
Yeah, the original release was a PG. For me, Beetlejuice is perfect. It is, from a pacing point, comedy, everything lands. It looks fantastic. It still holds up 35 years after the original. It's the best performance ever given by Michael Keaton. Batman coming in a close second, but this is as good as he gets. It's also a movie that I've shared with my family as they've grown up. So, like, I shared this with Kane and CK when they got to like 12, 13. Jack watched this a couple of years ago. So he watched this when he was 7 and he loved it. And I've recently shared this on this rewatch. I watched this with my youngest daughter, who's 6. She absolutely loved this, laughed at all the points that a kid would laugh at, and really, really enjoyed it. And for me, this is a real family Halloween movie. This is every single year around Halloween time, this gets a watch. It's a perfect gateway into horror movies for younger viewers. It is lightning in a bottle. It is so unique. And in my opinion, it is one of the best movies, full stop, produced in the 1980s. It's 5 out of 5. And if you haven't seen this, what are you actually doing with your life?
Yeah, agreed. Do we know what the age rating is on the sequel?
No, I don't. No. I have no idea, but I do have Google to hand, so I will.
Yeah, because I'm curious to know where this is gonna go. As with a lot of things like this from nostalgia properties, some of them either go to entice newer audiences, so they tone things down, such as the new Ghostbusters movies.
PG-13.
Thinking, so it is a PG-13, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, so again, I'll be able to take my younger kids to watch this, which is great.
That kind of worries me a little bit. That it's a PG-13. I'll be honest with you.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's got Michael Keaton. I just hope they've done the same as they've done before. They got him on set and he went, "What are my lines?" They went, "Just say whatever." Yeah. I hope they've given him that freedom. That's it for another week here on the show.
Hold on, no, before you wrap up, I do have one question that has been nagging me about the sequel. Do you think Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin's character is going to come back? And if they do, how are they going to handle the fact that they've now aged? Because ghosts don't age.
No, I don't.
Do you see the plot going with the sequel?
They're not going to return. They will have crossed over, and they will have crossed over before their 160 whatever years as a reward for dealing with Beetlejuice. That's how I think they'll write that away.
Because we've got Catherine O'Hara back, we've got Winona Ryder back.
Yeah, and they've the perfect excuse to bring them all back as well. They killed the dad. Like that's why they've all come back for his funeral. So it all makes sense. So I think Catherine O'Hara would have split up with her husband. Her and Winona Ryder moved away. He stayed in the house where he died. They've come back for the funeral. And then I think from there it'll be they go back to the house. The model's still there. Beetlejuice is still knocking around because someone has just died. There's a fresh person on the obituary list. So he's arrived in.
Nazi paedophile dad has just died.
Exactly. I don't know how they're going to handle him not being a ghost there unless they cover it and they make a point of saying he went straight to hell.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, it's like from the trailer, my perception of it is that it's already pre-established that they live there because Jenna Ortega's character is wearing the exact same school uniform that Winona Ryder wears at the end of this movie. So, like, she obviously goes to the same school that Winona Ryder's character went to. I don't know. We'll see. Unless she's a new entry to the school and they're going to deal with all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm apprehensive, but I'll go in with an open heart and open eyes and hope that it's good. I think that's where I am. That is it for another week. We're going to be back next week with a guest to take on Broken Spirit. We're also covering a fabulous movie, and that episode is going to be hilariously funny and full of technical difficulties. Spoiler, I know that because we have already recorded next week's episode, and we know it is riddled with technical issues that are the technical issues next week are arguably funnier than the episode.
I don't know. Next week's a corker. I thought we did very well with that.
We done fabulous. Like when I put it into the editing suite, like every time there was a fuck up or something went wrong, I was like, I should take. No, do you know? I can't take that out because we just rolled with it, and fuck it. So next week, every little thing that went wrong, which there was a fair bit of technical issues, all of that is in. We've got a fabulous guest, and it's a really good episode. But until next time, I'm an English teacher, not the fucking Tomb Raider. See you all next week.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
Hey, everyone. The You Run Podcast. The You Run Podcast.
You want to die tonight?
Scott, I think you know who the fuck this is that's talking.
Cancel Marc. I was terribly offended.
Because after all, this is not our show. This is your show.